Jake. Where are you? No. This can't be. Oh no. He's really gone. What have I done? My ex-wife, Emma, and I were married for 5 years, and I genuinely thought we were doing okay. Not perfect, but okay. Turns out I was completely wrong, and the way I found out changed everything. It started on a random Thursday afternoon when I got home early from running errands. I walked into our place, carrying groceries around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and heard Emma's book club meeting in the living room. 5 women sitting around our coffee table with wine glasses and a stack of books that I knew they hadn't actually read. Pretty standard for their meetings. I came in with the bags, smiled, said hello to everyone. Complete dead silence. All 5 of them looked directly at me for exactly 3 seconds, then deliberately looked away and resumed their conversation like I hadn't spoken at all. Emma didn't even glance in my direction. I stood there, holding the grocery bags, genuinely confused about what was happening. Asked what was going on. Nothing. Not a single word. Not even a flicker of acknowledgement. They talked right over me about some relationship psychology book supposedly been discussing. I set the bags down on the counter and tried again. Emma, everything okay? She walked right past me to refill her wine glass, reaching around me like I was a piece of furniture blocking her way. That's when I noticed something strange. The way they weren't looking at me wasn't natural. It was coordinated, perfectly timed, like they'd rehearsed this exact scenario. The book club members left about an hour later. They all said goodbye to Emma, hugged her at the door. Not one of them looked at me on their way out, even though I was standing right there in the entryway. After they left, Emma went straight upstairs without saying a word. 5 followed her, trying to understand what the hell was happening. She got ready for bed in complete silence, put in her earbuds, and turned away from me. I lay awake that entire first night, trying to make sense of it all. Emma slept peacefully, or at least she pretended to. I replayed the coordinated looks, the perfect timing of their silence, the way they all moved in sync. Then I remembered Emma mentioning that her book club had been reading some relationship psychology book about communication and power dynamics. I didn't know it then, but that book club had actually voted 4-1. The motion was to treat me like I was invisible for 30 full days, to teach me appreciation. Emma was about to learn a very different lesson than the one she'd planned. The next morning, Friday, I made coffee like I always did. Emma came down and made her own, in a different mug, not the one I'd set out for her. I tried some casual conversation. Sleep. Okay. Complete silence. She made herself breakfast and left my usual bowl in the cabinet instead of setting it out. Then she went to her home office and closed the door firmly behind her. That's when I realized this wasn't going to be just a one-day thing. This was going to continue indefinitely. I worked from my desk in the living room that day. Emma came out for lunch around noon and didn't offer me anything. She made phone calls right next to me, laughing and chatting with whoever was on the other end. The moment she hung up, her face went completely blank. I texted her directly. Can we talk? I watched her read it, saw the typing indicator appear, and then stop. No response came through. That's when something clicked in my head. She could ignore me all she wanted, but I didn't have to stay visible and keep serving her. That evening, I ordered takeout, enough for exactly 1 person. I ate at the table, while Emma microwaved some sad leftovers from 3 days ago. I didn't offer her any of mine. She glanced at my food, then quickly looked away. I caught the frustration flash across her face before she could hide it. Here's the thing, I realized in that moment. She expected me to keep serving her, cooking for her, doing things for her, while being completely ignored. That wasn't how being invisible actually worked. If I was truly invisible, I could do whatever I wanted. Saturday morning, I broke our usual routine entirely. Normally, I did all the yard work every Saturday without fail. This time, I slept in until 10 o'clock in the morning. Emma came to the bedroom door twice. I heard her footsteps pause outside, heard her hover there, heard her eventually leave. Around 11 o'clock, I heard her downstairs on the phone with someone I don't know. He's still in bed. The yard looks terrible. Nobody's mowed in 2 weeks. I stayed in bed until noon, just because I could. When I finally got up, I made myself an elaborate breakfast with eggs, bacon, fresh fruit, the works. Left the kitchen, slightly messy afterward. Then, I sat down at my computer and started researching something I hadn't thought about seriously in years: photography. I used to be a landscape photographer, not just as a hobby, but seriously pursuing it as a career. I had gallery showings in local spaces, sold prints to collectors, spent every single weekend shooting sunrise in the mountains or golden hour in the city. But over the years, Emma had complained constantly. Too much time away from home, too much money spent on equipment. The house needed attention and work. Little by little, I'd stopped going out on shoots, sold some of my expensive lenses to pay for house repairs. My good camera, a professional-grade Canon, ended up buried in the closet under boxes of her craft supplies that she never actually used for any crafts. But if I was going to be invisible anyway, I figured I could do whatever I wanted, starting with the things I'd given up to keep her happy. I pulled out my Canon with 3 different lenses and set everything up on the dining room table to clean and check the equipment. Emma came downstairs while I was working on it. She stopped dead in her tracks, staring at the camera equipment spread across the entire table. Her mouth opened like she was going to say something, demand to know what I was doing. Then she remembered her little game and snapped her mouth shut. Instead, she grabbed her purse and stormed out of the house. The front door slam actually shook the walls. I heard her on the phone through the open window. "He's doing it on purpose. I know he is. He's trying to make me break." She was absolutely right. I was doing it completely on purpose. Sunday morning, I got up at 6 o'clock, loaded all my camera gear into the car, and drove out to the mountains. I spent 4 solid hours shooting the sunrise, the fog rolling through the valleys, hikers on the trails starting their day. I didn't text Emma, didn't tell her where I was going, didn't leave a note. I came back at 11 o'clock to find her pacing in the kitchen, clearly stressed. When I walked in, carrying my camera bag, her face flooded with relief for just a second. Then she remembered she couldn't acknowledge me, and the relief turned immediately to anger. Her jaw clenched. She wanted desperately to know where I'd been, but asking meant admitting I existed. I spent the entire afternoon editing photos on my computer. Emma hovered nearby, doing unnecessary tasks, constantly glancing at my screen. I was editing a shot of sunrise breaking through fog, and I caught her staring directly at the image. She used to love my photography back when we first met. Our eyes almost met in that moment. She looked away fast. That evening, I cooked pasta for myself, just 1 single serving. Used the good ingredients we usually save for special occasions. The expensive aged Parmesan cheese we kept in the back of the fridge. Emma made herself a plain salad and sat directly across from me at the table, staring at her sad greens, while the smell of my delicious dinner filled the entire kitchen. She got up abruptly and went upstairs. I heard her crying through the bedroom door. For a moment, I actually felt guilty about it. Then I remembered she chose this. Every single silent minute of it was her choice. Monday arrived. Day 5 of whatever this was. I took over the guest bedroom as my new office space. Moved in my desk, my second monitor, my good ergonomic chair. Hung my photography prints on the walls, the ones I'd taken down years ago, because Emma said they made the house look too masculine. Emma appeared in the doorway, watching me rearrange furniture, looking conflicted, like she wanted to object, but couldn't, without speaking. Instead, she closed herself in her own office. The door slam echoed through the entire house. Later that afternoon, I blocked off my calendar. Photography time 5 to 7, every single evening. No exceptions. I noticed Emma had a baby shower scheduled for next Saturday that she clearly expected me to attend with her. I deleted it from my calendar entirely and added Stone Mountain photography shoot instead. I heard her sharp gasp from the other room. She appeared in my doorway, holding her phone, pointing at the calendar on her screen, her face turning red with anger. "Did you need something?" I asked calmly and politely. She turned and left without saying a word. Every change I made, every space I reclaimed in that house was another crack in her carefully constructed control. That evening, I drove out to Piedmont Park for golden hour shooting. Shot for 2 solid hours. Talked to other photographers I met there. Realized just how isolated I'd become over the past few years. I got home at 8, to find Emma eating cereal straight from the box for dinner. She glared at me, at my camera, at the freedom I was actively claiming back. Tuesday, day 6. That morning, I got a message from an old friend named Mike, someone I used to shoot with every single weekend before Emma entered my life. He'd seen my Instagram post from the weekend. "Man, it's good to see you back at it. Want to grab coffee sometime this week?" I met him at a place downtown. We talked for 2 straight hours about cameras and compositions and upcoming shoots we could do together. He asked where I'd been all this time. I told him the short version. Got busy with life. You know how it is. He looked at me like he knew there was way more to the story, but didn't push. "Well, whatever brought you back, I'm glad. You were always too talented to just stop completely." We made definite plans to shoot together the following weekend. Walking back to my car afterward, I realized how much I genuinely missed having friends who actually shared my interests and passions. Emma had never understood the photography community. She always said it was just an excuse for me to avoid responsibilities at home, which wasn't true at all. Later that day, I decided to really cook something special. I've always been the significantly better cook in our house. Emma can barely make toast without burning it black. I made Korean beef tacos from scratch. For myself, the house smelled absolutely incredible. Emma came downstairs, clearly drawn by the amazing smell. She watched me plate one perfect taco with all the toppings. I sat at the table and didn't look up at her. She made herself peanut butter toast and sat across from me, staring at my meal the entire time. I'd spent 5 solid years cooking meals she barely appreciated or acknowledged. Now, she got to appreciate what she'd been taking for granted. Around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Emma's friend Sarah came over to visit. They sat in the living room talking. I walked through with my camera bag, mentioned I was heading out for a shoot. Sarah said, "Oh hey, Jake, heading out?" Emma made this sharp cutting gesture at Sarah. Sarah looked completely confused. "Stop talking to me." I watched them have this silent exchange full of meaningful looks. Sarah looked uncomfortable as hell. "Emma, this is really weird," she said. Emma pulled her quickly into the kitchen. I heard urgent whispers. "The whole month we committed to this. He needs to learn his place." Sarah's response was clear, even though it was whispered. "This seems pretty extreme." Even her closest friends thought this whole thing was completely crazy. But Emma was committed to winning whatever game she thought we were playing. That night, I was updating my old photography website, the one I'd let expire years ago, when I found something extremely interesting in my message folder. Multiple messages from a gallery owner from 18 months ago. "Would love to show your work. Are you still shooting? Please get back to me." I'd never seen any of these messages before. I checked my spam folder more carefully. 3 more messages from different galleries, all filtered automatically. All of them had been marked as spam by someone who definitely wasn't me. She hadn't just discouraged my photography over the years. She'd actively sabotaged it, filtering opportunities so I'd never even see them. That night, I completely stopped feeling guilty about the tacos or anything else. Wednesday, day 7. I reviewed all our bank accounts in detail. We kept separate personal finances, but had one shared household fund for joint expenses. I'd been contributing $2,800 a month. Emma contributed $1,200, but that shared fund paid for her book club dues, her monthly wine subscription, for craft supplies she never actually used, for gym membership she rarely went to. I created a detailed spreadsheet showing the exact imbalance over the past year and printed it out on nice paper. Left it on the kitchen counter with a sticky note attached. "New budget starts next month. Fair contributions only." Emma found it around noon. She stared at it for a full 5 minutes without moving. Then she grabbed her phone and called someone. Probably Sarah. "He's being a complete a-hole right now." Yes, still not talking to me at all. But now he's changing our entire financial arrangement. Friday, day 9. I updated my completely dormant photography Instagram account. Posted 5 of my absolute best recent shots from the mountain and the park. Within just a few hours, I had over 200 likes and 30 comments from old photography friends I hadn't spoken to in years. 2 different gallery owners sent me direct messages. My old photography mentor, someone who'd really believed in my work, commented, asking where I'd been hiding. Marcus, where have you been? These shots are incredible. Come back to us. Emma's Instagram account was linked to mine from years ago, so she was seeing all the interaction, all the enthusiastic comments from other photographers, including several women in the community. Her face showed this mixture of jealousy and anger every time she checked her phone. A gallery owner messaged me about First Friday. Artist meetup next week at a local art center. You should definitely come. Bring your portfolio if you have it. I responded immediately, saying I'd be there. Added it to our shared calendar, just to make it official. Emma saw the notification pop up immediately. She typed and deleted 3 completely different messages, trying to respond. Then finally, just left it alone. That evening, she deliberately made herself dinner at exactly 5 o'clock. During my usual photo time, banged pots and pans as loudly as possible. I left for my shoot anyway, without acknowledging the noise. Got home at 9 o'clock. Emma was still awake with my Instagram open on her laptop. She quickly closed it when I walked in the room. She'd been stalking my account, reading every single comment. She followed me to the kitchen when I went for water. First time she'd actually followed me anywhere in the house. She opened her mouth multiple times, clearly wanting to ask about the women commenting on my photos, wanting to ask about the gallery meet, wanting to demand answers, but she couldn't ask any questions without speaking to me first. Finally, she just grabbed her laptop and went upstairs. Another door slam that rattled the frame. She'd created this absolutely perfect trap for herself. She couldn't control what she couldn't acknowledge existed. Saturday, day 10. I left at 5 in the morning for a different mountain location. Didn't tell Emma where I was going or when I'd be back. Spent the whole day shooting landscapes. Met up with photographer friends. Went to lunch in a nearby town afterward. First, real social interaction I'd had in months that didn't involve walking on eggshells. I got home at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Emma's car was in the driveway, but she wasn't home. I checked her location on our shared tracking app. She was sitting in a coffee shop parking lot 3 blocks away from our house. She'd been waiting there to see exactly when I'd come home. She was actively surveilling me. The invisible man had become her entire focus and obsession. That evening, Emma had her book club over again. Same 5 women. I was in my office with the door cracked open, just slightly. I could hear absolutely everything from the living room. Sarah said, Emma, you've lost weight. You look exhausted. Honestly, Emma insisted she was fine, and this whole thing was working perfectly. Another voice I recognized as Lisa said, is it though? He seems happier than ever from what I can see. Emma responded that it was just stubbornness, and I'd crack soon enough. Sarah said directly that she thought Emma should just talk to me. Emma said they'd committed to 30 full days, and the vote was 4-1. They couldn't back out now. Lisa spoke up clearly. I didn't vote for this whole invisible thing. I voted for you, to have an honest conversation with him about your feelings. Emma said it was too late now, and she couldn't break first, because that meant I won. Some kind of competition. Sarah asked, what exactly? Emma thought she was winning. Long silence filled the room. My marriage, Emma finally said. I'm winning my marriage back. Lisa's voice was quiet and sad. I don't think that's how any of this works. She turned our entire marriage into a game she was determined to win. She couldn't see that she'd already lost everything that actually mattered. That night, I couldn't sleep, but not from stress or worry, from genuine excitement. I joined an online photography forum I used to be really active on, years ago. Posted some of my recent work in the critique section. Within an hour, I had 15 detailed responses. Most were positive and enthusiastic, offering technical suggestions and asking about my process. One comment really stood out. Welcome back, Marcus. I remember your work from years ago. Glad to see you shooting again. Someone had actually remembered me. Someone had noticed I'd been gone and was genuinely happy I'd returned. It was such a small thing, but it hit me really hard, emotionally. I'd been so completely focused on keeping Emma happy that I'd forgotten there was this whole community of people who actually valued what I created. I sat in my office, looking at the life I'd rebuilt in just 10 days. Photography, career restarting, actual space in my own home, financial boundaries finally set, freedom to move and breathe and exist without constant criticism. I compared it to the 5 years before this, walking on eggshells constantly, abandoned hobbies and passions, isolated completely from friends, constant criticism, disguised as helpful feedback. I opened Google and searched for divorce attorneys in our area. This was happening. Sunday, I took phone consultations with 3 different divorce attorneys from my car parked in various random parking lots around town. The third one, a woman named Jennifer Harper, said something that really stuck with me. Silent treatment is actually a recognized form of emotional misuse. Document absolutely everything that's happening. I chose her immediately. Monday appointment scheduled. She emailed me intake forms and a complete document checklist. Sunday evening, after all the attorney calls, I found my old portfolio in a box way back in the garage. Physical prints from my absolute best work. Awards from photography competitions I'd won. Press clippings from a feature in a local arts magazine. I'd completely forgotten about most of this existing. Emma had never wanted any of these displayed anywhere in the house. She said it was bragging and looked pretentious. So I'd packed them all away years ago and eventually forgot they even existed. Looking through them now, I saw someone I barely recognized anymore. A confident artist who'd had a clear vision and the technical skill to execute it perfectly. Someone who'd been recognized and celebrated for his creative work. That person had disappeared slowly over 5 years of marriage, but he was finally coming back. Monday, day 12. I took a long lunch and met Jennifer Harper in person at her office. Her space was downtown, very professional and sleek. I explained absolutely everything. The book club vote, the coordinated silence, showed her my detailed timeline and all my evidence. She looked sympathetic, but not at all surprised by the story. I see cases like this more often than you'd think. Unfortunately, she reviewed all my financials carefully. You're in really good shape here. Separate accounts. No kids involved. House in both names equally. We can file immediately if you want. 30-day waiting period in this state. Where will you go when you leave? She asked directly. I hadn't thought that far ahead, honestly. Think about it. Soon, she said, you'll need a physical address for all the paperwork. I left her office and just drove around downtown for a while. Realized I could actually afford my own place easily, without supporting Emma's excessive spending habits. I had saved money. I stopped at a new apartment building near the park and toured a 1-bedroom unit with these huge windows. Absolutely perfect light for editing photos. I'll take it, I said immediately. When can I move in? Background check takes 24 hours. You could have keys by Wednesday afternoon. I paid all the deposits right there on the spot. First time in weeks, I'd felt genuine excitement about my future. Got home at 7 that evening to find Emma waiting with this aggressive energy just radiating off her. Long lunch, she said. Not a question at all, a direct accusation. I looked at her calmly. Did you say something? I asked. She slammed her laptop shut. I heard her on the phone immediately. He was gone for 4 hours today. For entire hours, her friend responded clearly. Emma, you don't get to track his movements if you're not even speaking to him. That's not how this works, Emma said. But I'm his wife, her friend said. Then act like his wife. Long silence from Emma. I only have 20 days left, she said. I can do this. I thought to myself, you don't have 20 days. You have exactly 2. Tuesday, day 13. I got the email in the morning. Your application has been approved. Congratulations. I picked up keys during my lunch break, toured my completely empty apartment with my camera, took photos of the space, imagining my life there. Photography, prints on the walls. My furniture arranged exactly my way. No more walking on eggshells. Just peace and quiet. Emma went to yoga every Tuesday at 6 o'clock, without fail. That gave me 90 solid minutes. Perfect timing. I went to a moving supply place after work and bought 20 moving boxes, packing tape, markers, bubble wrap, the whole setup. Loaded everything in my car and parked at the park near our house. Watched Emma's car pull out of the driveway at 5:55. Gave it 5 extra minutes to make absolutely sure she didn't come back for something. Then I pulled into the driveway at exactly 6 to become truly invisible, permanently. I worked fast and systematic. Bedroom. First, all my clothes, shoes, toiletries packed up. Bathroom. Next. My towels, all grooming supplies, office, computer, both monitors, desk accessories, all my files, living room, my photography prints off the walls, fall, camera gear, tripods, light meters, garage, my tools, my bike, camping equipment, kitchen, just my coffee maker, and one good knife. Everything fit perfectly in 15 boxes, plus my equipment bags. 3 trips to load the car. By 7:25, I was completely done. The house looks strange now. Visible holes where my things had been. Emma's stuff everywhere, covering every surface. But my presence completely erased. Last item, the note. I sat at the kitchen counter and went through 3 different drafts before I got it right. The final version I wrote on our nice stationery, bit of an ironic touch. Invisible means gone. For 2 weeks, you treated me like I didn't exist. I want you to know it worked. I finally see clearly what our marriage had become. You said I needed to learn my place. I learned my place isn't here. The divorce papers will be delivered by Friday. I've left everything that was truly ours, which, as it turns out, wasn't much. Take the house, the furniture, the life you designed without my input. I'll keep the parts of myself I almost lost completely. Thank you for the silent treatment. It was honestly the greatest gift you ever gave me. It reminded me who I was before I became whoever you needed me to be. I'm not angry. I'm not hurt. I'm just gone. Jake, PSU, have 2 weeks to prepare your response to the divorce filing. That's more warning than you gave me. I placed the note in the exact center of the kitchen counter, set my house keys directly on top of it, kept only my car key, walked out 7:30. She'd be home at 7:45. 15 minutes for my entire life to disappear completely. I took one last look around before closing the door. 5 years in this house. Couldn't remember the last time I'd actually felt at home here. I drove to my new apartment and unloaded boxes while listening to music. Realized I was actually smiling. First genuine peace I'd felt in years. I spent the next hour just sitting in my empty apartment. No furniture yet. Just boxes and camera equipment stacked up. The windows faced east. Perfect morning light for shooting. I imagined waking up here, making coffee in my own kitchen, editing photos at a desk positioned to catch the natural light. No one to criticize my mess. No one to complain about my schedule. No one to make me feel guilty for doing what I loved. Just space and freedom and unlimited possibility. Emma got home at 7:45 exactly. I imagined her walking in. Something would feel wrong immediately in the air. She'd see the living room first. Blank walls, where my photos had been displayed. She'd run upstairs frantically. Empty closet. Bathroom cleared out. All his stuff gone. Office, completely cleaned out like no one had ever worked there. Back downstairs. Increasingly frantic now. Kitchen. The note waiting. She'd read it once, twice, 3 times, trying to process. Invisible means gone. Her hands would shake. She checked the garage. Car. Gone. Tools gone. Everything gone. She'd look at the clock. 8:02. My phone started buzzing at 8:15. Emma, calling repeatedly. I declined every call. Text message came through. Jake, where are you? I didn't respond to anything. Call, declined. Call, declined. Text, saying, this isn't funny. Text saying, we need to talk right now. Text, threatening to call the police. Call, declined. Voicemail notification. Jake, I don't know what you think you're doing, but you need to come home right now. This isn't a joke. More calls, more texts flooding in. I'm going to call the police and report you missing. I finally responded to that one. I'm not missing. I'm gone. There's a difference. Emma texted back immediately. Where are you? I responded simply, invisible. Then I blocked her number completely. Around 11 o'clock. My doorbell camera app started sending alerts. I still had access to the camera at the old house. Hadn't removed my permissions yet. I checked the feed out of curiosity. Sarah was there with Emma on the porch. Sarah was trying to calm her down while Emma was crying and gesturing wildly at everything. Sarah eventually left, looking exhausted. I started getting calls from unknown numbers. Emma using her friends' phones to try to reach me. I didn't answer any of them. Text from Sarah's number. Clearly, Emma writing, you can't just leave your wife without talking to her. This is insane. I responded once. She didn't talk to me for 2 weeks. I'm returning the favor for 2 years. Block that number too. Finally, at 1:47 in the morning, a text from Emma's sister's phone. Please, just tell her you're safe so she can sleep. I responded one final time. I'm safe. I'm happy. I'm free. Tell Emma she got exactly what she wanted. I'm invisible now. Completely. I turned off my phone entirely. Slept better that night than I had in 5 solid years. Next morning, I woke up in my new apartment to sunlight streaming through the big windows. No tension in my shoulders. No anxious knot in my stomach. Just calm. Made coffee with my rescued coffee maker. Stood at the window, watching the city wake up below. Picked up my camera and shot the morning light, hitting the buildings across the street. Golden and warm and absolutely full of promise. My phone had 63 notifications when I finally turned it back on. Fall from Emma or her friends trying to reach me. I deleted every single one without reading them and blocked all the new numbers. Changed my phone number that afternoon. Gave the new one only to people who actually mattered. Mike, my attorney Jennifer, the gallery owners, my real friends. The divorce papers were served Friday morning, as promised. Day 16. Emma contested initially, claiming it was all because of a silly game that got out of hand. Her attorney heard our complete side, and the response was very clear. A 2-week campaign of silent treatment isn't a game. It's emotional misuse. Emma tried absolutely everything over the next 60 days. Tears, bargaining, anger, promises to change completely. Left voicemails I never listened to. Showed up at my building, but security turned her away every time. Sent letters that I returned unopened. Jennifer told me Emma was going through the classic stages of grief. Give her absolutely nothing. I gave her nothing. After 60 days, Emma finally agreed to mediation. I sat across from her for the first time since day 14. She looked completely different. Thinner, tired, older. She tried to speak to me directly. Jennifer cut her off immediately. All communication goes through attorneys only. Emma's eyes filled with tears. I felt absolutely nothing. The complete lack of emotion surprised even me. The settlement was fair. She kept the house. I didn't want it anyway. We split the remaining shared accounts. 50/50ths. She owed me $8,400 for overpayment into the household fund. She'd sell the house within 6 months and give me my equity portion. The whole thing was done in 90 minutes. Emma tried one last time in the parking lot afterward. Jake, please. I walked past her like she literally wasn't there. The irony wasn't lost on either of us. 6 months later, my downtown apartment was exactly what I needed. Photography prints, covering every single wall. My work everywhere. I'd booked 3 gallery shows around the city. My Instagram following hit 12,000. I rejoined my old photography collective. The first gallery show was in this cool arts district. 30 of my prints on the walls, professionally framed. A decent crowd showed up. People who genuinely appreciated the work, who understood the vision, who asked intelligent questions about technique. Mike came and brought some mutual friends I hadn't seen in years. They all said they'd missed me and were glad I was back. One woman bought 3 prints and said she'd been following my Instagram for months. Loved how my recent work captured freedom and transformation. You can feel the change in your life through these images, she said. She was absolutely right. I shot every single weekend. Mountains, coast, city streets, everything. My social calendar stayed full with gallery openings, photo walks, artist meets. I dated occasionally. Nothing serious yet, not rushing anything. Made my own meals on my own schedule. No more walking on eggshells. No more managing someone else's emotions. No more sacrificing pieces of myself to keep peace. 3 months after that, I was at a coffee shop editing photos on a Wednesday afternoon. Emma walked in with someone, maybe a new boyfriend. Our eyes met across the room. She froze completely. Clearly wanted to come over and talk. I held her gaze for just a moment, then looked back down at my laptop. Complete dismissal. Not cruel. Just done. She stood there for several seconds, then left without even ordering. My friend sitting with me asked if that was her. Yeah, I said. You okay? I looked around at my work on my laptop. My camera bag beside me. My freedom to be here on a Wednesday afternoon. My life exactly as I wanted it. I'm better than okay, I said. I'm visible. People ask me now if I regret how it ended. The truth is, it didn't end on day 14 when I walked out with my boxers. It ended 2 weeks earlier, when Emma and her friends voted to make me invisible. They just didn't know it yet. The silent treatment was supposed to teach me my place, make me desperate for her attention, remind me how much I needed her approval. Instead, it taught me how much I didn't need any of that. Some lessons aren't the ones you intended to teach. Some gifts don't look like gifts until later. Emma gave me 2 weeks of silence, and I gave her exactly what she wanted. An invisible husband. He's gone now. In his place is someone better. Someone who takes up space, who creates art, who doesn't apologize for existing. These days, when people ask about my divorce, I tell them the complete truth. My wife treated me like I was invisible for 2 weeks, so I made it permanent. Best decision I ever made. Not because I stopped being invisible to her, but because I finally became visible to myself.